There's that funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday live at 5 on the Evil FB Network. YouTube, check us out, subscribe. Keep an eye on news where Roy Blecker. You'll see my nice smiling, shining face. First, we'll join the mighty red KMAT 1490 AM. Bottom of the hour as we usually do. Lots of stuff coming up. Newsom, besides Newsom bankrupting our California on a lot of fronts, we'll get into the great KCRA report on the bullet train. They gave a very good rendition of that whole humongous fiasco. That might be just the upending of California. Touch on the Chad Bianco versus Rob Bonta versus counting the ballots in Riverside County. We'll update you on the Corey Jackson $6 million of your tax money into his pocket in fraud. We ask the question. Gavin Newsom sues Trump over his big win on mail-in ballots. Lawsuit number 87. Update you, Dunlop says, hey, this whole tire thing, California, you are going to screw over the people like they've never been screwed over before. Well, maybe they didn't quite say it like I did, but they should. A little bit of nostalgia on the race report and much, much more. But of course, sad news on the lead story of the day. As you see, Dolly Parton there with her signature, I Will Always Love You, one of her very famous songs, over 100,000, no, 100 million in short change. 100 million records sold when you used to sell records. I wonder how they do that today. She passed away today at 80 years old. Iconic singer, philanthropist, just all around good person. Sad to hear of her passing today. Besides being one of the greatest iconic singers of all time, songwriters, she was even pretty a decent guitar picker. Here she is with Linda Ronstadt and Emmylou Harris singing the Carter family classic, Bury Me Under the Weeping Willow in 1976. And I'm old enough to remember this. Hopefully, here we go.
Bury me beneath the willow, under the weeping willow tree, where he may know where I am sleeping, and perhaps he'll weep for me.
Three of the greatest singers you're ever going to see: Dolly Parton, Emmylou Harris, and Linda Ronstadt. Back there, man, can you believe it? 50 years ago today, singing Bury Me Under the Weeping Willow. Well, I don't know if they're going to bury Dolly Parton under the Weeping Willow, but it would be very deserving. Matt Soul posted this. In '88, Dolly Parton pulled every 7th and 8th grader in Sevier County into a room and told them to pick a buddy. She made them sign a contract. If both graduate, she hands you both $500. One fails, nobody gets paid. County dropout rate went from 35% to 6%. She handed out the checks herself. 1989, she offered $500 to every kid in the county who wanted to go to a local college. When Gatlinburg burned in 2016, she sent 900 families $1,000 a month for 6 months. You probably heard that part. Here's the rest of the story. Here's what you probably haven't heard. Fundraised more than expected, so she showed up in May and handed every one of those families another $5,000 on top. She quietly put $3 million into a recovery group that handles the years after the news trucks leave. She built her county an entire hospital. She played a benefit concert in 2007 at Dollywood, her famed resort up there in the hills of Tennessee. And the Stampede matched it. The Laconia Medical Center opened in 2010 with a birthing unit and a women's center. 2022, she started covering 100% of tuition, books, and fees for Dollywood employees. Full-time, part-time, seasonal. In 91, she paid for a bald eagle sanctuary because the birds couldn't be released back into the wild. No press release. And when Hurricane Helene hit through here in the western Northern Carolina, she wrote a personal check for $1 million, and her companies matched it. She didn't owe North Carolina anything, but she helped us anyway. She started the Imagination Library because her daddy couldn't read or write. Before she passed, she told her it was the most important thing she ever did. Rest easy, Dolly Parton. And I don't know if she will be buried under the willow tree, but 50 years ago, that song she sang with Emmylou Harris and Dolly Parton, it would be absolutely appropriate. What a life lived. Rest easy, Dolly Parton. Catch a little of the race report, a little nostalgia going on. Would be the 70th anniversary of the famed Manzanita Speedway. As you see it here up the picture in Arizona, closed in 2009. Man, a lot of great sprint car racing, stock car racing, and just all around good times were had at Manzanita Speedway in Phoenix. And man, what a lot of people wouldn't give to see one more race at that famed facility. It's a post by Lance Jennings, publicist for USAC CRA out here. Another event that's going to come up here in February, Riverside Raceway Reunion, celebrating 70 years of Riverside International Raceway. It'll be on, as you see, on February 20th and 21st, with a dinner at the Mission Inn and a car. That'll be Saturday, and I think Sunday a car show Sunday morning at the Mission Inn. You can get information on this at Riverside Insider Reunion or RiversideReunion.com. Always check out. My reading is very shaky on its best day. There's a link to that. Ralphie the Racer LaCourty. This is him back in 1972. Ripping the miles in the Champ Dirt car. If you ever will go back and watch the archives back in my day, or when I was a kid, ABC's Wide World of Sports, you see that guy flipping like crazy down the straightaway at Winchester Speedway. and you hear the thrill of victory, and you hear the agony of defeat, and you see that guy flipping a sprint car down the famed Winchester Speedway in Indiana. That's Ralphie, the racer, Lagore. We get into the core. We'll update you more on the Corey Jackson. Is it $6 million in taxpayer money? It's going down the fraud tutelage. The update on the bullet train, how and more on how Gavin Newsom is bankrupting California. That and much, much more on today's show. Man, is it... Sometimes I guess the old adage, when it rains, it pours. We've been kind of getting a whole lot of that here in CA to the max. Let's update a few of the stories that we've been trying to get to. Four years ago, Gavin Newsom was told, hey, there's rampant hospice fraud going on in your state. He said, fraud? What fraud? There's no fraud in California. We are Democrats. We've never heard of the word. We don't even know what it means. Fox News Report.
Fox News Alert, this is Saturday in America. I'm Kaylee McEnany. We have unearthed an explosive report. The 2022 document that I am holding is an 87-page report from the then acting state auditor in California addressed directly to the governor of California, warning in no uncertain terms that the state's weak oversight of hospice agencies has created opportunities for large-scale abuse and fraud. That last part's a direct quote. Now look at this screenshot.
Large-scale abuse, fraud and abuse from the California Legislative Analyst's Office, the nonpartisan office of the government. They're not Democrat, they're not Republican, they're not left, they're not right. They're supposed to call it right down the middle. They were told in 2022, hey, there's a bunch of frauding going on in all this hospice. Robert Rivas, Corey Jackson, Gavin Newsom. Fraud? We don't see any fraud. There is no fraud. We said there's no fraud.
Of the very first page of the audit, addressed to Governor Gavin Newsom. The subtitle warns of the extensive fraud plaguing California today. It cites fraud indicators found particularly in Los Angeles County. A rapid increase in the number of hospice agencies with no clear correlation to increased need. In fact, listen to this. The aged population increased 40% in California between 2010 and 2021, while the hospice agencies increased an astonishing 1,589%. Another indicator was the...
This is going to blow your calculator off the screen. It's if you punch those numbers into your friendly local calculator, it would say, no way, you must have hit a wrong button here. Excessive geographic clustering of hospices. Yeah, there's 27 hospices in a 200 square foot office building in Glendora, California, or wherever. You might have a problem here, Gav. You might have a problem, Corey Jackson. No. Abnormally high rates of still living patients discharge from hospice care. People in hospice were living 5, 10, 20 years. I think your average hospice patient lasts about 2 to 3 months. I mean, when you're hospice, They put you in hospice. Hey, there's nothing else we can do for you. The only thing we can do for you at this point is make your life more comfortable until you're looking at the roots of the grass.
The excessive geographic clustering of hospices with sometimes dozens of separately licensed agencies located in the same building, and also abnormally high rates of still living patients discharged from hospice care, despite hospice typically offering care for people expected to live 6 months or less. And look at this. You won't believe it. They even gave...
Oh, yes, we will. 1,111% we will believe it. Because this is California. The king pointing a gun at you, taking your money, and then burning it in the furnace, flushing it down the toilet, enriching themselves and these so-called nonprofits. F you mother effers, up and down the line.
Newsom a map. Quote, 210 active hospice agencies located within 1 mile of each other on Van Nuys in Los Angeles County. Now,
if I play any more, this is only the first minute and a half of a 5-minute report on Fox News. If I play any more, I guarantee you, well, maybe the ratings will go up. My head will explode on camera. It can't. Again, if we weren't seeing it in real time, nobody could believe that the United States of America would turn more corrupt than communist China and ping pong, Putin and Russia, Venezuela, Peru, or an Idi Amin, name any tin-horn dictator, piece of trash, Hitler-loving piece of crap society that you've ever seen. Javier Bacaria's lead over Stevie Hilton shrinks in new California governor's poll, and the California reports by Zahn Khan. Zahn Khan would be even better. Let me rename everybody so we can get this stuff on track. Be much more entertaining. Anyway, Democratic gubernatorial candidate Javier Baccaria, lead over Republican rival Stevie Hilton, has shrunk dramatically in a new statewide poll, with two candidates now separated by just 8 points. Baccaria leads Hilton by 49% to 41% among likely November voters, while 9% remained undecided, according to new poll exclusively with the California Post. The rest of the highlighter of the Berkeley poll, this is UC Berkeley, not part of the vast right-wing conspiracy. In fact, been very far left, skewing in their poll results. The result is far tighter than the Berkeley poll released days earlier that showed Baccaria with a commanding 16-point advantage. This will be, and I will say this, well, Suds aren't. And I consider him mostly a Democrat. Since Arnold Kennedy, who was registered as a Republican, Meg Whitman, all the rest, Brian Dolly, they're so memorable you can't even remember them. Kashkari, John Cox. At least Steve Hilton can put 3 words together and sound semi-frickin' coherent. Crucially, Baccaria falls below 50% for the first time in a general election polling, leading the Democratic runner short of majority support just 2 months until Election Day. Well, a little more than 2 months, but we're close enough. There you see it, 49. Well, let me blow her up. 49 to 41. Undecided 10%. Still, little Stevie would have to have almost all of the undecided, which is almost 10%. Baccaria's support is collapsing. As more and more Californians learn about the horrific record of HHS Secretary Javier Baccaria sending thousands of Latino kids into the clutches of child sex and labor traffickers, Hilton told the Post. He thinks he's going to coast to victory as part of the corrupt Sacramento machine. But this poll shows Californians have had enough and are now rising up to throw out the insiders and vote for change we so desperately need. Now, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon or say this is definitive but Stevie Hilton, maybe things have deteriorated enough. We'll get into the bullet train and electricity prices and Corey Jackson gifting himself, it appears, $6 million of your money. On top of that, Gavin Newsom's all in a Twitter over the Trump winning on the ballots. He's suing for the 87th time the Trump administration because they kicked his mother loving ever ass. You see in the California Globe, President Trump's big Supreme Court win over the mail-in ballots. Gavin Newsom files lawsuit 87. United States Attorney from California, U.S. Bill Saley. These measures would not be necessary if states like California didn't allow non-citizens to easily register to vote and get mail-in ballots. We are actively identifying ineligible citizens on California's dirty voter rolls and will soon announce criminal arrests related to our investigation. We can only hope that this is the case. It better be the case or we're going to sink this whole economy, California, into the crapper. We'll be joining the Mighty Met KMET here in a few minutes, something like that. Pick up, we'll get to the bullet train, Edgemont trash pickers, and a lot of other neat stuff.
30 seconds.
Coming up, as Sean just said, in less than 30 seconds. Hang on to your seat, it's going to be one hell of a ride in the next 30 minutes. It absolutely, I don't know. It's
Here we go, 10 seconds.
best hillbilly hoedown around.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
that funky slide guitar music that comes out every Monday through Friday, live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM. Broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the aforementioned band, showing your vast video audience on the evil FB Network. YouTube, check us out, subscribe, type in iNewsWire Roy Blecker, you'll see my nice, smiling, shining face. Covered, well, in the race report. 70 years ago today, Manzanita Speedway opened. How much we would give not to have that back. 70th reunion coming in February at the Mission Inn of the Riverside Raceway. Same thing. What would we give to have one more race at the famed Riverside International Raceway? That'll be coming up in February. We'll keep you up to date on that. Sad news, and we had that. Dolly Parton passed away at age 80. We ran, if you go back to the first part, we ran the iconic Carter family song she sang with Emmylou Harris and Linda Ronstadt, Bury Me Under the Willow Tree. I don't know if they're going to do that, but that would be appropriate for the great Dolly Parton. And we ran through some of the things you didn't know, or maybe hadn't heard, she had done in her 80 years on the top side of the grass. Rest easy, Dolly Parton. Got into the fraud. 4 years ago, the Legislative Analyst's Office told Gavin Newsom, hey, buddy, there's a lot of hospice fraud going on in your state. Maybe you should look at it. Along with him and Corey Jackson. Fraud? That's impossible to be going on in California. We're Democrats. We're more saintly than Jesus Christ. Fox News blew that in a recent report right out the window. 10 years ago, we had the kids clean up. And yours truly manufactured the Edgemont trash pickers, which was made here, grown from the eucalyptus trees that used to be in my happy 3 acres. Took the nice size, about a 1-inch branch, about 3 foot long, cut them off, put a drywall screw in, and cut off the end, put a point on it, you go boom, 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 boom. Well, there's an Edgemont trash picker holding up the hood and dudes working in a car, which needs to happen a hell of a lot more in society today. That was 10 years ago. We posted the other uses for manufactured by Bleckert Engineering, the Edgemont trash pickers. Love to go back in the scenes. Before we get to the debacle, and KCRA3 did a great report. A great report on the bullet train, and we'll dissect that. The whole don't tread on me. California going to ban 70% of the tires that we now use. Hag Nancy Skinner, Oakenboom, or whatever the hell his name is, the head of the California Energy Commission, which you never voted for. KCRA3 had a report from Dunlop that said, you know what, they did a 6th grade educated ditch bank Okie from Edgemont. Ain't too far off. This thing's going to be a complete disaster. Hopefully, here we go.
Speaking out today after the California Energy Commission approved new rules pushing them to sell more energy-efficient tires here in California. We're also hearing from the former lawmaker who wrote the legislation that allowed the CEC to do this more than 20 years ago.
All right, Political Director Ashley Zavala has been in front of all of this, and you join us now. What's the latest?
Yeah, well, we're trying to get all sides.
Boy, is that a shock. Ashley Zavala's out front of the story. I'd have never believed that. Here we go with the great Ashley Zavala's report on KCRA3.
Here, Dunlop Tires, one of the largest makers of tires in the world. Dunlop Tires North America is based in Southern California. The company CEO held a press conference today to explain why the company is worried about this new rule. The California Energy Commission, meanwhile, has said in the long haul, more energy efficient tires will mean California drivers save money on gas or electricity. Meanwhile, I spoke with the former assemblyman who wrote the legislation that gave the Energy Commission the power to do this in the first place. We're asking, is this about saving drivers money, or is it about California's clean air goals?
It's about effing you over and taking every amount of joy and fun out of your life and stomping it, and then shoving it down your throat and pulling it out your rear end. Here's more from the Ash report.
So, will prices increase? You bet they'll increase.
The president and CEO of Dunlop Tires weighing in on California's new rules that will ban the sale of most tires currently sold.
But Gavin Newsom told us, oh, the sea hag Nancy Skinner, Hokenboom or whatever. Oh no. Tires are going to you're actually going to save money by banning 70% of the tires available to you. They really think you're that much of an imbecile.
In state, it's a push by state regulators to get more energy efficient tires on the road.
It's going to be a real issue for everybody. So in terms of cost, of course, it's going to go up. By how much, we don't know. Is there going to be fuel savings? In theory.
The Southern California company held this more than out.
You're going to be lucky. You're going to be lucky in reality if these new tires will save you 0.1% per mile per gallon. What they're going to do is make your car more dangerous because it's not going to stop as quick. It's not going to have as much cornering ability. And especially when it rains, you're going to be hydroplaning off the road, possibly 100 feet off the cliff to you and your family's death. Over these idiotic and stupid regulations. Thank you, Dunlop Tires. Here we go.
Hour-long virtual press conference Monday, raising concerns about cost, safety, tire durability, and possible environmental consequences of the new rules that take effect starting in 2029. The company's executives said California drivers could save even more money and make tires more efficient right now if they keep their tires properly inflated.
Generally, when you attempt to regulate something that you don't understand or don't care much about, you create bad policy. And that is probably what we have here.
To be fair, I haven't looked at those analyses, but again, the CEC is a really top-notch organization. And
shut the mother-loving F up. As much con artists, phony reports that have come out of the state of California, California Air Resources Board, California Energy Commission, driving gas prices, highest in the nation, electricity prices, natural gas, every other energy, through the roof, higher than anybody else by far, 50% higher gas prices and electricity than the average of the United States. You did such a good job, and everything's cheaper, free. Shut the frick up!
I am confident that they did it right.
Joe Nation is the former Democratic assemblyman who wrote the bill that gave the California Energy Commission the power to set these rules more than 20 years ago. Nation's bill set a deadline for the commission to get it done by 2008, but the commission didn't act on it until last week.
So the CEAG Nancy Skinner, who was in the legislature at that time, well, we should have got it done then. The only solace we got in this, thank our lucky stars that we got a 20-year reprieve before they doubled down on extreme stupid. And again, they think we're all, and the COVID con and all this other stuff they've been saying, They think you're an imbecile, retarded, stupid, no brains. And we, the people, have allowed that. Maybe if that new California Post UC Berkeley poll is anywhere close, that little Stevie Hilton's within 8 points of Javier Baccaria, maybe there's a slight bit of hope. More good news from KCRA3. If there was again, the most corrupt project of all time, without question, has been the California bullet train. KCRA3 did an extensive report on this here a wee ago.
It is easier to describe it as the most expensive infrastructure project happening in the world today.
It only takes about 15 minutes to drive through Fresno on 99, but that 12-mile stretch is a source of building frustrations. And for David Tangipa, his anger is personal.
Whenever anybody asks me, what's my position on high-speed rail? I tell them, I did not vote for high-speed rail because I was 12 years old when this project started.
So Tangipa now is in the California Assembly. So no, I didn't vote for the bond in 2008 because I was only 12 years old that got us onto this, that they talk people into. You cannot believe this fairy tale crap. Get it out of your head. The Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland. It does not exist. Free does not exist. Somebody else paying for your free ride does not exist. Get that through the cranium, and we have the building blocks to start rebuilding the stupidity we've been exposed to.
Tangipa is now 30 and one of the youngest members of the state assembly representing this area. He, along with his colleague, Senator Shannon Grove, believe California's high-speed rail has terribly run off the tracks.
So we're going to get around this corner over here, and you're going to see the beginning or the end of a section of the high-speed rail. Now, keep in mind this was all supposed to be built by 2020.
It was impressive that a train could go that fast and still feel stable and comfortable at the same time.
Assemblymember Ma is part of a delegation investigating whether a bullet train like this could also someday fly in California.
The journey for California's high-speed rail has been anything but a smooth ride.
We're 30 years behind Europe and Japan, and we need high-speed rail today.
That's what they told us 30 or 20 years ago or whatever it is. I can't even think. 18 years ago. 2008. Oh, we're 30 years behind. Well, now we're 50 years behind. Or 48. We have no high-speed rail. Japan, third world countries have built this stuff and put it into place. Yet we got our thumb in our rear ends. We've been conned into this. A $30 billion project is now cost estimate to over $200 billion, and they have not laid 1 inch of track.
The project had been talked about for years before going on the ballot in 2008.
I think that the cost of it will be significantly greater than what we're looking at right now.
It's on the November 2008 ballot, and I think it'll remain there.
The measure got 52% of the vote.
As you just saw there, that was then State Senator, or was State Senator Quentin Kopp, former KGO Talk show host, and The guy that was pushing that, head of the committee that got all this on. And he's been on this show and said, yeah, I was a big proponent, still am, of high-speed rail. This is not high-speed rail, and you're getting systematically effed over this whole project.
Have you ever wanted to see your home from space? With this free satellite...
Oh, of course, it's got to run the stupid ads going on. Here we go. We thought.
Look down here, though. This is the best part. Ta-da! I mean, it just stops.
There's no doubt high-speed rail has...
There's Shannon Grove, California senator from up there in Senator Bakersfield area, where this is going through. Ta-da! Nothing. Zero tracks. Zero anything. Yeah, broken promises, and that doesn't even describe. There are no adjectives that have been known in the history of the world. No four-letter words that have been spoken in the history of the world that can explain this project other than the sheer stupidity, retardation, imbecile mindset of the majority of Californians. And I'm talking to you plain and as it is, and come in here and prove me wrong. The evidence is clear. It isn't the sixth grade educated ditchbank Ogie from Edgemont telling you this. This KCRA 3, along with 10 gazillion reports on this.
Some baggage. Originally estimated to cost $33 billion connecting San Francisco to LA by 2020.
It's a big reason why we ran for office was accountability. You know, if the people said that we want a train, you build the damn train and you give...
Yes, you build the damn train. That's David Tangipaw on KCRA 3. It was supposed to be a straight shot. 2 hours. LA to San Francisco. Even if this thing ever... This convoluted going up through there... Going up through the Cone Pass, into Bakersfield and Fresno and Merced, and then head over. 8 hours minimum. You can drive your car from LA to San Francisco in 8 hours. Why would you want to take that stupid route? They blamed asthma and this and Obama and that, and hopefully Trump got the money shut off. It's been absolutely incredible. Hopefully tomorrow or Thursday we'll delve deeper into Laura Powell's great article outlining the whole Corey Jackson. Now all of a sudden he points a gun at all of us, extract $6 million out of our wallets and put it into his control, or his former nonprofit control. On top of all the other evidence we've been able to uncover. And we've gone back decades with him mentoring at the crime syndicate Moreno Valley Unified School District. And the whole, brought to you by yours truly, the whole debacle of the SBX Corey Jackson-led corrupt, as an elected official in Riverside County in the Board of Education, double dealing with the Riverside County Board of Supervisors in 2021, flushing $3.9 million down the toilet, and then costing you another $1.8 million this year to try to salvage that whole debacle. Can you say political double dealing, backstabbing crime and corruption. We'll get into Laura Powell's great article, maybe again Wednesday or Thursday. This video, the director of CARD, a nonprofit founded by Assemblymember Corey Jackson, has been allocated $6 million from the state. Expresses concern about Republican and Chad Bianco in particular winning the gubernatorial primary, which was then 4 weeks away. The problem is, and Laura Powell is an attorney, Esquire. This is her post. The problem is that she was speaking on behalf of a 501c3, which is barred from expressing support or opposition for a political candidate. It would be a shame if the IRS revoked the non-profit status. Scott Bennett, she's the Treasury Secretary. She's mentioning, here's the interview or the post that Laura Powell made on this. Here we go.
Can you talk to, sorry about that. Can you talk to us now about how critical it is to get people out to vote, especially in this primary? And I mean, I'm actually afraid of what might happen on the gubernatorial side with the number of candidates and how there's only two, that are Republicans, and one of them is the sheriff for Riverside County.
Oh boy.
Remember the father of the top two in June, yours truly. And she's afraid. Especially Chad Bianco might be in that top two, and our choice would have been little Stevie Hilton and Chad Bianco. Again, not me, Laura Powell, Esquire, saying this is a big no-no. As a nonprofit coming out for a political candidate. Corey Jackson knows this. He's been on both sides of this, or should. I guess I can't say that 100% what he knows and doesn't. He should know this is a big no-no. But he continues on with Roos, the now CEO of CARD. My opinion, racist organization. Look at the ISEF deal. How did Corey Jackson give them, as we pointed out yesterday, $1 million in 2003, right after he became assemblyman? Dude.
Oh boy. I would say this. If there was ever a time to have an opportunity to stop the decay of a multiracial, multi-ethnic society and multi-religious society, it is during this midterm elections in June and November. It's our only chance to have a check and balance against the institutions and structures of the federal government.
They want to overthrow the government. They want a communistic dictatorship that the Gavin Newsoms, the Corey Jacksons, the Mondamis, Hassan Piker run the whole thing, and you are enslaving to them. That's what this whole thing is all about. Quit being retarded, imbecile, and I'm telling you like it is. You better get off your orange, you better get off your dead heinies, You better start getting in. You better start going to your neighbors, friends, everyone else. Local levels at Delgado for assembly to replace Corey Jackson as assembly and get his ass out of there. We got to defend Leticia Castillo, Jeff Gonzalez, Greg Wallace. We've made gains in the Inland Empire. Are we going to, not only are we going to double down on Corey Jackson, are we going to throw those gains out and put a bunch of loons in on top of that? So a lot at stake. The most important election is the one coming up, and that's November 3rd, 2026. If I and others got to put a torch on your rear end to motivate you, that's what we're going to do. It's that critical at this time. That'll do it for today as I head to the Chrono Syndicate. A few seconds. Mandatory, you're back here in 23 hours wide. You're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Until then, see ya.
Was a paid.
Shit, you think Corey Jackson's bad? My God, the people that they're going to vote in make him look like Ronald Reagan.
If we lose like Castillo's, Gonzalez's, and Wallace's seat on top of keeping Corey Jackson in, holy cow! We will burn it to the officially. California will burn to the freaking ground quickly.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, have fun at your meeting.
You got it.
I won't be here Friday, so.
Oh, was Jesse in Friday?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll see you next week.
I'm actually taking a day off. My first day off that I've had in 4 months.
Well deserved.
Yeah. All right.
Have fun.
Take it easy.
You got it.